Café in Dania.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the frim sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Good afternoon, and welcome to a Tuesday, Election Day edition of Lunchbox. I'm at a weird angle. We have our Lunchbox shirts on.
Well, I don't. I didn't get the memo.
No,
I didn't think Lubie was going to do it, and then you started it, and he's ready with his. Mine's stuck in the closet there, but we were getting ready to start the show, so here I am in the usual Richard shirt.
And here I am. Okay. Everybody can see me and my big fat belly, and I'll tilt my camera up now so you can see my Halloween mask. That's the alien being there, along with the Dolphins hat. Everybody loves the Dolphins now. So it looks like Defo is dressed for the occasion. It's looking for a pretty bleak morning Tuesday.
Black Tuesday,
Is
yeah.
that it?
I'm heading right out after the show. I don't have to make much of a move. Straight, it's actually adjacent to the parking lot for the place that I live here, the Ocean Bay Club. Assumption Church, you'll see it if you go on A1A and you're north of Commercial Boulevard, south of Atlantic, and I should be able to waltz right in there and cast my losing ballot.
I'm gonna chide you at this point, Jeff
Why is that?
DeForest, because today is election day, and I guess since you are old school and maybe
I always vote on election day.
Well,
I
that's it.
rarely do the
Okay,
early
you're a
thing.
traditionalist, and I've embraced the new regime, the new era of early voting, and my
See, those
mother-
ballots are going in the garbage, though, according to
No,
the.
they're not. We stop that. Okay, we
they
don't need to
lose-
feed into the whole hysteria and paranoia and conspiracy theories.
Lost in the mail, all of those votes.
First of all, before we get into the whole voting thing, because I do have some things to say today beyond the usual pablum of everybody go vote, because I do have some strong opinions about some
You've
things.
already condemned regular voters who go out and vote on election day. I mean,
So,
you immediately
wait,
started.
you're
with the
talking me-
assertion it's because we're old and feeble, and our vote shouldn't count.
I never.
It's your
And why do you
editorial
call it
commentary.
regular voters? Am I an irregular voter? Am I an abnormal voter?
I mean, the
I'm a
majority of
voter.
people, you would think, vote on election day. I would say the majority will be voting today.
No, and this is where
That
you
may
are
not
wrong.
be true anymore. I don't know, but
No, this is not true anymore. This is how out of touch you are, because
But
majority of
look how
voting.
simple it is for me. I don't have to go to some place that's like 10 miles. I'm literally walking
actually-
out my door
All right,
and
we're
going
gonna
into the
get-
voting place.
All right, you got me off the track, and you've already got me a little riled up. I'm going to have a Snickers bar, so I don't.
I
get
think you should
so
have a gummy
angry.
bear is what you need. I mean, you need to chill out, man. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I'm walking right out the door at 1 o'clock, and by 1:15, my vote will be in.
But here's the thing. All right, let's get to the good news.
What if it rained? I mean, listen to you. You're like, some degenerate gambler.
No,
worrying about the
No,
conditions of a football
71-year-old man. What if you died? What if you died last night? If you voted early, your vote
Well,
would have
then
counted.
the Republicans would have said they took the votes of dead people.
But
can't
it's
win.
actually legal
You
to
can't
take
win,
the.
Brock.
As long as you are a living, breathing human being on the day that you voted, and
I
turned
wasn't
in your
counting on
ballot.
dying last night, Mayo. I'm sorry. I mean, I wasn't really that worried about it, to be honest with you. My knee hurts a little bit, but other than that, I'm okay.
Okay, but let me give you some other scenarios that aren't as dire. Maybe what if you got in an auto accident? We're in the hospital.
I
What
wasn't
if you were-
planning on being hospitalized. I figure I'm going to
Nobody plans on the Spanish Inquisition, but somehow it happens. So
Now you're going to get into all kinds of things. I mean, historical denials and all this stuff. You're only going to get into jackpot. There is nothing wrong with voting on election day.
no, there
Absolutely
is nothing
zero.
wrong with voting on election day. I'm just saying it's far preferable to vote before election day.
Maybe for you. For me, I walk across the street and I vote. It's
See,
great.
look at this. We're arguing. We're on the same side politically, and look at
Yeah.
the way we're going at it, just over the styles and methods of voting.
This couldn't be any easier for me to execute this vote, doing it on election day because of the fact that the place I walk my dog by this church
It
every
would be
day.
amazing if you
Every day.
snapped your ankle. I mean, I'm not wishing anything
No,
bad to
that's-
happen to you. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
sure.
not-
If I get hit by a truck on the way over there, I'm probably not going to get my vote in. Okay, I'll give you
But
that.
it doesn't matter
That's
this
a given.
go around in Florida anyway, because everything is pretty much decided. It is
Florida,
now-
I decided, has a new slogan. Florida is the state of confusion. That's
Oh
what it's all
well,
about. Nobody
we've
knows
always
who
been
they
that.
are, what they want, what they're
We're
going to
not
do.
purple anymore. We used to be a swing
Well,
state.
right.
Now we're solidly red.
Oh, we're swinging, all
Uh,
right. We're
but
swinging.
except for
Oh, so
certain certain counties, and then you have county commissions here in Broward that are solidly Democrat, and our congressional representatives here are all they're all safe seats and
So, do you want to
Democrats.
reveal who you voted for? I
No, I'm
could
not talking
guess.
about that yet. I
weird.
wanted to start with the good news, okay,
All right.
before we get into the election
Well, he's not your
mishigas.
though. You're
What?
unbelievable, man. A
What?
guy says he's going to wake up in the morning. You say, "How do you know that?" I mean, you're unbelievable,
Sounds like Kyle
Mike Mayo.
Shanahan.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
know
You
who's
and Kyle
gonna be on
Shanahan.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. In fact, I don't even know if I'm going to be alive. There you go. You stole his speech.
Okay,
All right.
so
What do you got on your mind, Mike?
no, the good news is that Nicole looks like it's veering more on a northern
Yes,
path,
it says, right?
and even though we're
Who's
going to be
she?
feeling,
Oh, the hurricane you're talking
The
about.
yeah,
hurricane.
well, now it's officially a tropical storm. It's no longer subtropical.
Oh, good.
It's
I'm
not a
so
hurricane.
I really am. I'm happy about this. It's who
Well,
needs this aggravation?
no, well, the latest thing is, and a lot of places are still look. The National Weather Service has to do kind of cover your butt things and
Yeah.
issuing all these warnings and have kind of this dire language to make people pay attention. And again, if you're living right along the coast and along the barrier islands there, I'd pay attention because I was up taking my walk along Dania Beach, the Dania Pier,
Little
and
windy?
there is no more beach. The waves were already washing up over the sandbars and into the parking lot there, and that's even with the storm way out there. But so there might be some storm surge going on the barrier islands, but the good part is for us,
It looks
bad.
nice out to me. I'm getting
No,
ready to go for the
it's
walk also.
bad news for the kind of Daytona areas, and even that Central Coast Fort Pierce. It's looking more and more like the center of the storm is going to be hitting that part of Florida.
Mm.
The good news for us is because it's we're on the southern side. Most of the bad effects and the heavy rain are going to be on the northern side,
Yeah,
the dirty
yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Being on the southern side of the center means that not only are we going to get less rain, it also means that the winds, because it swirls counterclockwise, for us is going to be coming from west to east. So the fact that the west to east wind means water is not going to be pushing onto the shore. It means it's going to be
Goes out.
being pulled away from the shore.
I
The
got to
same
laugh
thing.
here. You
What?
sound like you're
It's
introducing a
not-
football
it's-
game on a radio, and you're
I think that-
Howard David. Well, they're going from left to right on a radio dial here. Is the surf going to be up? Can we ride some waves today, Mike?
Well,
Mayo? Is that
right
what
now,
you're saying?
earlier this morning, the waves were up. There were
Okay.
riptide currents. I wouldn't go in there,
Yeah.
but all I know is that when the storm finally does make that push, and it's coming west, but it looks like it's going to be heading north.
Andy
Look,
wants to know when you became Tex Antoine. That was the guy with the Mr. Weatherby. He was so
Yeah.
delusional that he was drawing cartoons all the time while he was doing the weather. Very
He got
popular in New York.
He got in trouble at the end.
Well, what
there.
does this have to do with food? Now we should be eating in celebration, should we not?
Well, yeah, no. I mean, people again. We're already a lot of things have been canceled tomorrow, and the weather will kind of be a little bit rough tomorrow. We're going to get some stormy weather, some rain, and some squalls. I'm just saying, for terms of possible scenarios, this is the better case scenario where it's going to be drifting north. And
Yeah,
we're
it's
gonna be on
missing
the
us.
well,
I couldn't
not
get any
completely.
better.
Not missing us completely, and a lot of places, just keep out a watchful eye. The worst of it should be coming tomorrow night into Thursday morning. So that's
See,
the
I
cold front.
envisioned again Sharknado, hitting my house there with like fish coming out of the ocean and hitting me in the head. I'm glad though that the drift is on, and let's hope that the people come out of it okay that are going to be directly impacted by it. I mean, it obviously is not as severe as what happened in Fort Myers.
This is not
before.
a Cat 4,
Yeah.
Cat 5. We're talking about a
Cat
quick
one.
spawning.
We should be able to
growing-
hold on to our hair pieces. No.
Yeah, and they're saying barely Category 1 if it makes it, but again, if you're right in the middle of 75 miles an hour winds, it can
Cat
be a little-
1. Who cares? No
Yeah, I
problem.
know, we're very
We'll go
lazy
play
for-
frisbee.
But all right, so that brings us to voting and election day. And
What
I
you
was
used to
gonna-
do on election day when you were like in the editorial department there, and you had to cover all the? What would you have focused on in this one?
Eat pizza. They would bring in all the pizzas to the newsroom.
Yeah.
No, actually, I would be out and about on election day, going to different polling places, talking and doing some exit polling or just interviews with different voters to catch the vibe, see what the crowds are like, what the turnout is like, if there's any glitches. There used to be a lot of glitches down here, and I would
What
go-
happened to that guy that was staring at the what do they call those? The Chads. Remember that guy
Yeah.
with the like Lubie's wearing his glasses today, but remember
He
they
was
had
a
that blind
judge.
guy? Yeah, and he was.
No, his name was Judge Robert.
You knew him?
Yeah, Judge Robert Rosenberg. He
He was
is
always on
now
TV. He couldn't see squat,
He's
man.
not blind. It's just that he was examining the hanging chad. He had a magnifying glass, and they took
Oh,
that
so stupid.
famous iconic picture where his eyeball is like magnified because he's
That was
looking at the
great, man.
hanging chad.
You look like Marty
Uh,
Feldman. I
and
think Jeb stole that one too. I really do.
Yes,
That
he's
that one
please
I didn't
stop.
believe was on the list.
Stop with the conspiracies, okay?
What's
Reverse
that?
conspiracy.
Elections are not perfect things, okay? There's always going to be a couple of things that
Yeah,
go a little bit awry. The question is it does it come within the margin of error? Now, in the Bush Gore election, when it was 537 votes, and there were all these confusing things with the hanging chad and the butterfly ballot, and people who thought they were voting
his
for
brother was
Gore
the
were actually
governor of the
vo-
state. I
they were
mean,
voting for Buchanan. Remember
Yeah.
the Jews for Buchanan in Palm Beach because of
never
the
happened.
butterfly ballot. All these things, I can't believe it's 22 years ago already.
Yep.
Is that right? That was
And
2000.
and as a result of that, now again, there were a lot of Democrats after that election who were like, well, and the Supreme Court stopped the recounts and the counting and said at some point we have to declare a winner, and they declared a winner. They declared George W. Bush the
Jeb called
winner.
time on that. He said time's expired,
Well,
man.
so did
This
Catherine
guy
Harris,
wins. Yeah.
and the Democrats wanted to keep counting, and the Republicans wanted to stop counting because they were ahead by 537.
Which is
At the end of the day, the Supreme Court ruled in favor. But you know what happened that time, Defo? Al Gore conceded and said, "Yeah,
Yeah, he did. Yeah. That was
even
a
though
mistake.
maybe
It
there
was.
were more people who intended to vote for him in Florida, and that the electoral
I
votes in
think he
Florida
won
went
it.
to."
I believe he won it.
You
I-
could believe
did you ever
that.
see the documentary Billy Corbin did? Was it Corbin that did
Yes.
that? Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
look,
a great job on it.
I believe that more people intended to vote for Gore than George W. Bush in that 2000 election in Florida. But at the end of the day, Al Gore himself said, "You know what? I concede we have to go forward for the sake of democracy." That's exactly
not
not
happening
what's
today.
happening
No.
anytime
It's
today.
not
And that just shows you how much things have changed in 22
There's
years.
your editorial comment. Nice. I like it.
And the other thing is that all this early voting and mail-in voting, which has now become the dominant way that most voters in Florida vote. I think the last couple of big elections, and the last presidential election, I think statewide, I think 65% of the ballots came in before election day. It
See,
was
I like walking in there. It's election
fine.
day. There's a buzz in the air. You go into the place. It'll be very quiet where I
Here-
go to vote. It usually is, but
but-
it just feels good to do it
Fine.
on
Let me make my
election day.
point. My
What-
point
oh,
was,
you had a point? Oh, good.
Yeah.
good.
you know what? I'm so glad there's no profanity on this show because it almost came rolling out of my mouth. The middle finger.
No, you got to show
like-
restraint there.
The point is, as a result of the 2000 election debacle, there were many changes implemented. And it's actually the legislature under Jeb Bush in the early 2000s that wanted to make mail-in voting easier,
Yep.
that
Alright.
wanted to make early voting easier because it would allow for more votes to be tabulated before election day. It also happens to be a pro-democratic move, not
It helps
not
the
the,
things,
not the party, but just if you're in a society that wants to encourage voting and democracy, you want to make it as easy as possible for as many citizens as possible to vote, because there are working people out there who can't take time off today, who can't make it to the polling place, all these things. So they expand. It was Republicans in this state who expanded all these voting methods, and now these same Republicans around the country are saying, "Oh no, early voting and mail-in voting is horrible. It's a fix," and blah blah blah. No, it's just another voting method that allows more people to vote. In this state, to the legislature's credit, it allows for the tabulation of these early votes before election day. So you're not waiting around 5 days for all of them to be tabulated. And then people start saying, "Oh, they're stealing it now because, one party is behind on this day and then all the other ballots are tabulated." I think it's great that you have all these different ways to vote. And I'm glad that you're going to go vote later today, Defo, and everybody
Right
should
after
go
the show.
vote.
The
Yeah.
minute this thing's
But,
over, I'm out the door.
But the other thing about all this early voting and well, now I've lost track of my whole mind. So I'm
See,
gonna
there
eat
was no
another stick
point.
of gum.
After all that, Lubie, how many years have we been working together? And I mean, I've lost my train of thought many, many times in the process of rambling and, doing all kinds of tangential stuff during a little monologue or whatever. But no, the point is you're happy because this is going to happen, and you think it's going to be legit. I believe it will be. I trust the results of the election. That Jeb thing was a little bit scary because he cut that stuff off, and it looked like it was going to swing the other way there with the Al Gore, George Bush election in 2000. The documentary, and we talked to Billy Corbin today on our morning show, and he did a brilliant job characterizing and depicting what happened there, and it was frightening. It really was how confused everybody was.
Look, in
Were
cases
you in
like
Tallahassee at the time, Lubie?
I
Where
was
were
actually
you?
senior in high school. It was before I went to Tallahassee. So,
Oh my God, I feel old.
He was in high school while we were doing this. Come on,
I did.
Mayo.
It was.
And you're young.
It was the election. I wanted to be able to vote. I turned 18 2 weeks before the election, so I was not allowed to vote, and it would have been my first time voting, and they could have used me, and I would have punched the crap out of the goddamn Chads if I had to. The problem is, and especially when it comes to government and court systems, when there's iffy stuff, you're supposed to recuse yourself, right? He was the goddamn brother of the guy running and was the governor of the state. Yet he was highly involved in the whole thing. It was sketchy, at least, and they mishandled the entire thing. And the Corbin thing shows that. It was a documentary that was unbiased,
look,
and it shows it.
I never forgave him for the Terry Schiavo stuff. I really didn't. Jeff Bush.
and
Never got over that.
And we're
This
going
poor
back
woman,
to now.
this poor woman and her family. My God.
Well, let's talk about a food show. That was force feeding, and I don't know. I mean, it's whatever happened to
These
less
people were
government.
sitting
not more.
Shiva by her bed there for like 20 years, and
I
Jeb
don't
wouldn't
think
let him pull
so.
the
I
plug.
don't think they were Jewish, but okay. So, all right. So now, to get back to my original point, because you mentioned Robert Rosenberg, who was a Broward Circuit judge who happened to sit on what they call the canvassing board. They were the ones charged with figuring out, divining the intent of voters, especially on these hanging Chad ballots.
He was diligent, at least. I mean, he really was. He was trying to do a good job.
Now we've changed the voting system, so we have these actually, written, fill it in. So then, when something goes wrong through the scanner, if there's something very close, if a ballot catches 2 votes in a race, they show it to the canvassing board and they say, oh yeah, this bubble is clearly bubbled in with a circle around it, and this one he made a little mark, but they put they said this one is the one they wanted to vote for. They look at all these things. Okay, postscript. So Robert Rosenberg retired from the bench. He's now actually he works privately as a state-appointed mediator. I'm in the middle of suing my insurance company, Citizens Insurance. Guess who's the court-appointed mediator for my case?
Guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Well, he's likely to miss some stuff in the fine print. Hopefully, it falls in your favor. That'd be great. He looked like Mush from the Bronx Tale, didn't he? A little bit. He had that kind of look to him. He looked like the kind of guy you'd see stooping for tickets at the track. And that kind of is what they were asking him to do, is sit there and go, does he have the 3 on that ticket? I can't tell. It looks smudged a little bit. But that was pretty much hilarious. It is interesting, though, Michael. You do make a good point. It was Republicans that kind of got into all of these alternative methods,
bashing the system that they created, which just
that was your boy Donnie.
The consistency of the modern day Republican Party. The other thing I wanted to say is, but you're saying, oh, it's easier today. You have your local polling place. The problem with today is you have to vote at your assigned voting place, and your vote might be disqualified if you don't go to your assigned.
Well, I can't miss it, Michael. I mean, literally, it is next door to my house.
Defo works out perfect for me. I used to vote on election day, and then there was it the Obama year where I waited for 3 hours because I had to go to the one place, and I waited 3 hours, and I was like, and then they started opening it up where you can go anywhere for 2 weeks, 7 to 7, and that made it way easier for me. So that's why I do early, because otherwise it's a pain in the rear.
It's more convenient because, again, and when there's trickeration going on, to use a Don King word, that let's say for people who move or they changed polling precincts and people didn't get the notice and they show up the one that they used to go to and they say, oh, this isn't your assigned one. You're supposed to go here. It's like, well, I can't go there. And then they cast provisional ballots, and then those are the ballots that might not get counted. They start playing games because there's more rules actually on election day itself than early voting. Early voting, you go to any of I think it was 16 different sites. Anyone that you go to around the county, you show them your ID, they pull up your specific ballot for your precinct, and you could vote at any of those early voting sites.
Too late now, though, Mike. Too late.
Well, too late for you.
No, I actually go by an early voting place when I play tennis. They have, like a center there where, they do conduct early voting. But if I ever got to the match more than 2 minutes before I was supposed to arrive, I probably would have done it, but I knew I had a fail-safe here. Now you're saying that it wasn't a fail-safe because I could have died prior to today,
Yeah.
Thank God
but
you
but
did.
I'm here, so it
You're
worked
here.
out
In the
in my
case of
favor.
my mom, we did a mail-in vote for her, and as long
Well,
as a
that's
person is
understandable, sure.
alive, and a person, and again, she's obviously elderly and sick, and she doesn't want to go schlepping out to voting. So the mail-in ballot is the best thing for her. She fills it out, she signs it, and then I deposit it at the the drop-off site at my early voting site. So my household, we did it both ways, and actually, my brother goes. He's like you; he likes going to vote in person, so he's voting today. Lubie, what did you do? Are you early
I
voter?
voted Sunday. I wanted to vote early, and I usually try to go with my wife so that I make sure we both get our votes in. Life's been hectic for us, so Sunday I realized, oh shoot, we haven't voted yet. I don't even know where because I've moved a few times in the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't even know where my original place is. So at 6 o'clock Sunday, I was like, what time do they close? And my mom's like, news. So she's my source. I called her. She's like, you have till 7. I'm like, okay. So I went to Tamarack. Actually, it was between where I was and my home, where we're staying. When it was super cake, I went in within 5 minutes, went in, voted, and left. Which look, that's the whole point of this process is to make it as easy as possible so you can get as many people voting as possible. At least for me.
People who are
Were you
legally
with me at the track that day? I bet my last $10 on the 5 ball at 50-1 at Gulfstream. This was recently, and I only did it because that was my only chance to get out. As if this horse that had no chance won. And then we were watching a race, and you know how they have the numbers, and it's sort of like, they're electronically tracking the horses by the saddle cloth thing, so you see the numbers and they're moving.
Yeah.
This horse moved all the way back into the Gulfstream parking lot and onto Hallandale Beach Boulevard while they were on the backstretch. And that's kind of how I feel today. Like I'm just throwing my last $10.
was
a couple
the
of
name of
losers.
that horse Charlie Crist?
He didn't run a very forceful campaign there. I would say that.
I tell you what,
he was
okay.
sort of a non-entity.
He should have ran. I think it was done.
I don't
He's got
like
my
getting
vote, Charlie.
I don't
He's
like
got my
getting
vote.
into the partisanship,
Yeah.
who votes for who. I'm very proud that on this group that we're 100% voting, like all of it. Well, actually 66%. And if Defo makes it to the polling place without getting involved in some
If
sort
I
of
don't
calamity.
make it, then there is no God. I mean, if I don't make it to the polling place after this show, when I'm literally going to walk like 100 steps and I cast my ballot, then there is no reason to live. All
right.
of you people can just give up,
No,
throw in the
and
towel on life.
And I guess the bottom line is everybody go out there and vote.
What a
no
disaster
matter-
thinker you are, Michael. When did you develop this line of thought?
I'm a
this train of
fatalist.
thought?
There's a reason why I'm divorced. Michelle always said you're the most like pessimistic
You
person.
are the dark side, man,
Yeah.
personified.
Realist.
Even your lighting on your computer there, I mean, just has a dark shadow on it.
But is it
it's
still in
kinda funny.
HD? Do you still see me?
It's funny
clearly
because
now?
you actually enjoy yourself. I've seen you have a good time, but you always do think on the dark side.
Well, it's that scene in Woody Allen's Annie Hall where he's like a 7-year-old and brooding about the meaninglessness of the universe and
Yeah.
impending doom and death, and he's playing with his uncle Joey Nichols, and the guy slapping him with the nickel, say Joey 5 cents, Joey Nichols, and and then he goes to the doctor and he explains his malaise, and the doctor says, "Look, the important thing is to enjoy yourself while we're here." So that's my attitude.
That's
Let's
it, yeah.
just enjoy ourselves.
My
while
favorite
we're here.
scene, aside from anything out of Bananas, and of course the dictator scene is fantastic. But favorite scene in any Woody Allen movie is when he's at the cash register at the the bookstore there, and he's trying to subtly sneak a copy of a magazine, an X-rated magazine, into the pile there, and then the guy picks it out and holds it up while this girl that he's kind of hot on is standing at the cash, and he goes, "Hey Joe, how much for a copy of Orgasm magazine?"
Yeah, this man wants to
And that's
buy a
it.
copy.
You're outed. Yeah.
No, Bananas was a great movie. One of my earliest childhood memories is being a 3-year-old sitting in the lap of my father at a theater in Brooklyn while we were watching. The family went to see Bananas, and I just remember being like bouncing like a jockey in a saddle because my dad was just cracking up through the whole movie.
It was great, man. Howard Cosell in there.
And that scene where the revolutionary gets power and then goes power hungry, the speech that you play on your morning shows.
It's fantastic.
About, underwear will be worn on the outside and will be changed 3 times a day. I think
kids
it's more,
that aren't 16 years old yet are now 16.
right. But I think that's more relevant and to today than ever before because, every 4 years we always hear the refrain, "This is the most important election
We say it
ever.
again,
This
'cause
the
it's
whole
important.
future of the planet and democracy and mankind is at stake. And every time we say, well, this time we really mean it. It's really true. And again, the same things are being said because really it is frightening that unlike in 2000 when Al Gore, for the good of the republic and the country and cohesion and unity, even though he really probably believed that he was the true winner, he stood up at a podium and said,
Yeah.
I concede. Congratulations to George W. Bush, the next president, and let's come together as Americans and work forward. I don't hear that from one side now. It's just
Oh, no.
one side.
No,
Hey,
And
did you have a food angle to election day? Because we did in the DeForest household, and I remember this, and I remember it very fondly. And I don't know that it helped spark my interest in politics, which I've always had, somewhat of an interest in. But my dad always had like 2 or 3 Jiffy Pops, the old Jiffy Pop with the
the
aluminum
popcorn, the
foil.
foil, yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and
Don't put it in
and
the microwave, though.
no, no, we used to fire it up on the stove because that was the way to make it,
Yeah.
and melt some butter, and that was our big thing. Was we sat there, watched election results, and ate Jiffy Pop popcorn, and it was a real family. It was like Thanksgiving, only with politics involved.
These days, it's more become a liquid occasion, and I usually sit with a jug of either vodka or heavy duty bourbon.
I may have
Because,
some morphine on hand tonight when the results come in. Although I know what to expect, so it's kind of like having the Saints last night plus 2. I mean,
look,
you
and
knew what
look,
to
there
expect right from the beginning.
exactly, and look, there's some people out there who are going to be popping champagne corks tonight. And all I can say is, how come they
Did you get the
never?
invite to Mar-a-Lago, or are you going to be heading down there or up there? I
No,
guess it would be for
no,
you.
I will not be at Mar-a-Lago.
All right.
Neither will Ron DeSantis or Ron DeSanctimonious, as the former president has now christened the
Here's what I love, though.
governor.
I mean, not to influence one side or the other. I know we're not a political platform here, and let's eat South Florida, and we respect everybody's opinion. But after the way that Trump diminished Marco Rubio during the election campaign in 2016, I mean, if I'm Marco Rubio, there's no way I ever want this man to set foot anywhere near me again, especially as an endorser. And there is, I don't want to reference, I don't know, is jellyfish on the menu anywhere in South Florida? Do they have these spineless jellyfish
Spineless
on
jellyfish.
any
Yes.
menu? Have you seen that? Because how you could have this man then to come back like years later and endorse you is amazing to me. That's the thing that really gets me. All of these guys like Cruz, he's calling his wife ugly, and now they're all under this umbrella, and unfortunately that's kind of the way politics have gone, and not a lot of
But it shows
individual
you
positioning and thinking.
two things. Number one, that Republicans have like no shame, no moral compass, but they will do anything to win, and they will come together, even with the weirdest bedfellows and people who've totally disparaged them personally, to come
You,
together.
you couldn't say enough ugly things about Rubio than Trump did.
Whereas the Democrats in this state, they don't have any bench. They don't have any
Who are they, man?
charisma.
Where are they?
Who are they?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Charlie
I mean,
Crist. I
the
mean,
Republican. All we get is retreads. I mean, Charlie Crist, I like him. Hell of a nice guy. And when he was governor as a Republican, he actually did some good things for regular people. He reined in the insurance companies when it came to property insurance. He did some good things. He was one of those guys that, even though I'm on maybe the other side politically, I would vote for him. And now he changed teams and stripes, but he's a retread, and let's face it, he's been losing every major election that's not a congressional seat in the last 15 years. So why is this your guy? I mean, the Democrats in Florida have no bench, they have no charisma, they have no. I don't see a future. I don't see who's their future stars, and they just ran lackluster
that may be true,
campaigns.
in the presidential race when it comes back. Also,
Yeah,
in a
no.
couple
Look,
years.
and Republicans, for all their
They're united.
they're united, even
Yeah.
though the ones who are standing next to each other might have been plunging daggers into each other's backs, 2 or 4 years ago. It's incredible, but hey, they are where they are. I just hope that for people, working people, regular people, people who are wanting to have Social Security and a healthcare system, a safety net, whether it's healthcare.gov and the subsidized insurance plans that was brought to you
Now
by
you're
the
speaking to the choir
Obamacare.
here.
Yeah. All right.
Those
So
would be the two paramount things, that
yeah.
would concern me. That these guys are going to whack my Social Security check, and I'm on my Medicare is the greatest thing that ever happened to anybody. You can go anywhere, and I'm telling you, they send limousines for
If
you
you
as
make
soon
it
as
to
you say you're on Medicare.
65. Yes, if you
Well,
make it
I
to
mean,
65.
fortunately, I don't think like you, so I did make it to 65. And I took my Social
Unfortunately for
Security
me,
later, so I'm getting a nice pile of cash because I didn't anticipate checking out at 63 and opt for the minor amount of money they offer you if you sign on at 62. But these two things, I mean, to people that, I mean, unfortunately, I'm still working and I could always manufacture some kind of job, some way to make money, which is good. But to the people that are literally on, fixed incomes, and this is it, and they're getting like 2,500 or less a month. You can't take that away from them and their medical care in midstream. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think
I'm
they're
not
going to
sure
be
what's
doing that.
proposed
They
out
get
there, but
it's
man,
it's they're talking about making cuts for the futures. People like me and Lubie. So I think you're
you
saying,
guys, I don't care if you guys are out of luck as long as I get mine.
Thank
When I got robbed
uh,
for that first Social Security deduction from my very first paycheck, Michael, was for $11.15. I
Yeah.
made $11.15 selling souvenirs at a Jet game on a Sunday, and you got paid weekly by Harry M. Stevens. And then I got the check, and it was like for $9.78.
Oh,
And I
jeez.
thought I was robbed. I would have rather been robbed at gunpoint. And then, some of that was Social Security. But I guess fortunately there was a period of time there where I was making some cash, and it must have come under the umbrella of when they considered what my payoff was going to be. And so, I mean, to see that evaporate would not be fun at this point.
no,
Because that's
no
my
fun.
track money. I mean, I'm literally the old guy that takes his Social Security check to the track and bets his brains out the rest of the month.
Because you have other income streams. Hey,
Well, that's it.
it's a good time to talk about no matter which side you're on, and as the results come in tonight, I think a fine place to go check it. Well, whether you want to watch a TV in the bar area or just get away from it all with a
If you see
beautiful
Charlie
steak dinner.
Crist, he'll be face down on the bar at Tropical Acres.
The Studi Alley family and Tropical Acres, that's your place to go any night, whether it's election night or if a storm is on the way or out of the way. Tropical Acres is at 2500 Griffin Road, and it's my place to go for celebrations, mourning, whatever you need. If you need your spirits lifted or just to celebrate a big victory, go into the bar area, happy hour, 4:30 to 6:30 with half-price drinks, including the premium stuff. It's incredible. Great bar bites there too. And of course, the dining room opens every day at 4:30 with the early bird special for the first hour.
Can I
And
do the
then,
sound? Can I do the sound
yeah,
effect?
go ahead. That's the early bird. They're squawking.
Early bird.
And then of course tonight is still Tuesday, and great, it's half price wine night, and I think I might be cracking open a couple of bottle wines.
Are you going
later
over there?
today.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
I might be doing one there and one at home. I don't know, depending on how
We
the
need to have
results
another
come.
corporate dinner here with the guys from the
Yeah.
show.
I'm
Very
down.
soon.
So
Actually, tonight I'm having a little celebration. Well, that'll be later, but with my buddy Poker Sean had his big score.
man.
But
Again, this
we're
kid,
going to be.
unbelievable.
I'm trying to get him to go to Tropical Acres. He usually treats us to a nice dinner. We got to. The venue is to be determined, but you should be making the choice to go to Tropical Acres. Anybody out there that wants a great deal, great hospitality, good quality food. And again, half price wine night Monday and Tuesday. They still have the twin Maine lobster special going for the next couple of weeks. It's 2 twin steamed Maine lobsters for $35 with salad and side dish. You can't beat that deal. Butcher shop is open to bring home steaks, cook it yourself. Tropical Acres, go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you.
Would you care to have a little appetizer of some stone crabs, Mr. Mayo, tonight? I mean, they have those there too. Your man Tommy T, Tom Tanazzini, though, is posting all the time on Facebook about some guy. He has, like a dynamite source for stone crabs. Have you seen those
Yeah,
posts?
feels like it.
Like Mayo? I mean, the prices look like they're $5-10 a pound less than they would be in other places where you would consider it a bargain. So that's something to look
There's
into.
this guy that I guess has become friend of his. He's posting these
Well,
posts.
what are you
all
eating
over
now?
Facebook.
I mean, what do you snuck that in?
Eating a Snickers that takes a half
There's
an
another
hour.
Snickers bar. I took a walk this morning. I didn't eat, so my blood sugar level. I need a little bit of a boost.
You look fine. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's
So-
an excuse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an excuse. I just want to eat candy.
All
So this guy who's selling
You were
stone
happy
crabs
no
now,
kids showed up for Halloween.
I think he
at
has
the
his
house.
own stone crab. He's a stone crabber. He has his own
Okay.
traps. I assume he's licensed to sell some
Prices looked
liquor.
reasonable compared to
Yeah,
others. That's for sure.
and he's been going out and delivering to people for a certain amount. But we don't allow those promotional posts on Let's Eat South Florida. So
Oh, you know, all right.
he's been peppering them in other places. Tom T puts it on his personal page. He
Yeah,
likes the guy. I haven't tried his product yet. And again,
I
I
know. I
don't
was
know.
looking at my Roger Federer fan page, and there was Tom T, and he's got this stone crab guy. He's managed to infiltrate every place. He probably would be Elon Musk's worst enemy if he was on Twitter with this stuff.
All right, let's take a break and we'll come back. We'll talk more. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of food. I do have a couple more thoughts about the
What was
election.
this? What was it? A meatball? What did you have the other day there? That
Oh
you
no,
put a
the
picture of?
matzo balls,
Yeah.
not matzo balls, a matzo ball. It's a
All right.
garlic roll stuffed with mozzarella and other fillings, and I'll talk about that after these words on the Lunchbox. People come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Café Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Café Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans. For 30 years, they've been doing a great job. The original location, West Side, 3303 Sheridan Street, just across from TY Park in Hollywood. And there's the East Side location, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late in both locations. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent. Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Café in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. And we're back on the Lunchbox Election Day special. I guess we are talking a little bit, not partisan politics, just about elections in general and voting
Don't be
process.
afraid to take a stand. That
Well,
was
no, I
something
mean
I learned very
that's
early on in this business.
no.
Don't be afraid to take a stand.
Defo,
Yeah.
you're talking to a man who is a Metro News columnist for a major
Yes.
metropolitan
Exactly.
paper. I took stands all the time,
And
but
the people hated you, which was great.
oh, a lot of people like
No, but
me.
you had a good opinion. I look, I'm on your side on this stuff. I know that for a fact.
Uh,
We're
but the
Jewish
thing is,
brothers, and we probably think alike, at
in
least
the in the
on those
food
terms.
Yeah, and in the food world, I just want to get people back to talking to each other and breaking bread and being able
Well,
to
that'd be
sit
nice.
down
Yeah.
and talk about differences. But oh, there comes the Snickers bar. The
Uh-oh.
the dismaying thing is the demonization that has gone on, and mainly by one side over the other. Although both parties are guilty. But in terms of where you now have this political violence and you're seeing attacks, and again, it's gone both ways. Where you've seen Steve Scalise being shot by a person by a wackadoodle, who's a Republican at that the softball game a few years ago. Nobody wants to see a country where there's intimidation and threats and violence and break-ins and attacks and potential kidnappings and assassinations. That's not the country that I don't think anybody wants to see. We got to try to get back to getting to a place where we're just differing on policies, but not saying these people are evil or these people are that it's just it's gone too far. And but the other thing that I want to mention with Marco Rubio, you get on him for the gun control, and I think doing a post-mortem analysis, I don't think after Parkland and the whole tragedy there, Democrats didn't make they just see in a statewide race as gun control or gun regulation as being a complete losing issue. But I think cutting across all lines that there are people out there that do want to see some sort of something reined in with these automatic weapons, and the Democrats didn't really make a big issue of it and didn't use some of the tragedies that we've
It's
had in the
extremist
state.
thinking, though, all the time. I mean, honestly, no logical person. I don't care if you go hunting wild turkeys, if you're a gun collector, whatever the reason is that you have guns. You need one for protection. A lot of people feel that way, and probably with good reason. But there is no reason to make available to insane people and not be able to at least track some of this activity when some 18-year-old kid is buying AK-47s and 1,000 rounds of ammunition at 4 different
Yep.
gun shops the day
No, you don't
before he's about to commit a crime of just the most heinous order. And a couple of days after, he posted on social media, hey, guess what, I just bought some guns, I'm going to go out and kill somebody. I mean, we should be able to put some kind of system of checks on that.
that
And
that sounds
we
it
don't see
sounds
that.
it sounds reasonable to me, but
Yeah.
apparently not some people that are in power, and
Right.
it's mind-boggling. And it's also mind-boggling that the other side politically can't make any hay or progress out of trying to oppose that thinking.
I don't
So
know anybody though that wouldn't be in favor of trying to limit that activity, and yet we don't see that coming about, which is
the NRA and
unfortunate.
the but the other thing. Go, go ahead.
Organizational bias. Like we've gotten to this point where there's no common ground, which
Yeah.
I never grew up with. There were certain things that it was like, well, duh. Like nothing is a well, duh. Nothing is like, well, obviously, like everything has to be argued about, which I don't understand. Like certain things are just, I used to think common understanding, and that's not the case these days.
No, and the other thing that
Anyway,
blows
what is the appeal of Marco Rubio? What has he done in 8 years? Can you name one thing?
well, but beyond, but without just picking on particular candidates, although
Well, you may
the
mention his name. I'm like, I can't figure out what the appeal of this guy is. I don't care. And maybe you despise Val Demings, his opponent in this race. That's possible. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me, obviously, that's the way I'm going. But what has Marco Rubio done as a politician that you go, wow, we really need this guy leading us forward? It's
to
crazy.
me, the Dems, another area where they fail to exploit, is Marco Rubio was one of the senators who was challenging and trying to basically overturn the election results, basically by being one of the senators on January 6th before the riot and break-in of the Capitol happened, he was one of the ones that was standing behind this effort to basically invalidate other states' certified results. And this
Very
blows me away because can you imagine? And again, nobody tried to really make hay out of that this political season. The Democrats and Val Demings didn't say, "Hey, Marco Rubio, like if how would you feel if the senator from New York stood up and tried to get in the way of your the vote certification of Florida when you get reelected today?" I mean, this is the kind of thing. Like I remember growing up in New York, and we had Democratic senators, Patrick Moynihan, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, Jacob Javits, but I would have been totally opposed if they stood up and said, "Oh, we have to get in the way of Ronald Reagan's election. We're going to challenge the results in Alabama because they have a flawed election system there. They have a racist system there." They didn't do that. That would be out of control. You don't have a senator from one state trying to block the result from another state that already has its own systems and laws and certifications in place. And the Democrats here didn't make they didn't make an issue out of that. And
I
they
think you hit it on the head. We don't have a very heavy Democratic presence, even though Broward County
Yes.
is, largely still probably the only county in the state that's Democratic anymore. And even Miami, I think, is going to swing into the red in this
yeah.
particular election. So
All right, so
we'll see what happens.
that's
Yeah, enough on that. People are going to wonder what the hell's going on here. Right? Let's talk about these meatballs or whatever they were, those matzo balls that you
no.
had.
And again, we are a topical show, and today's topic
It's a
is
lunchbox. This is what people are talking about over lunch.
It's the lunchbox.
Yeah.
It's election day, and thank goodness we're not talking about a storm that's going to be hitting us directly. And it looks like it's going to the north. But again, everybody should keep paying attention to those weather updates, and if there's
Yeah,
any
you know what's funny about
advisories.
that? I mean, the TV coverage got to me again because what was this? I mean, it started to formulate, over the weekend where it looked like something was going to happen, and obviously, you want to, heed these warnings. We know not to take them lightly anymore, and even if it's a boy that cried wolf situation 30 times, that 31st time it was Hurricane Andrew. So you have to be careful, and we just saw what happened with Ian. I mean, devastating stuff. But Saturday night, as this thing was still just a little bit of schmutz way off in the distance there, and nobody knew what was happening, they sent one of the female reporters from Channel 4 out to the beach there, and her hair was blowing a little bit in the wind. I mean, just barely moving. And, the anchors, when they finished off, they always have to come back with a little ad lib commentary, and he said, "Wow, you could see how fierce the winds are becoming already." Literally, I mean, the wind couldn't have been more than 5 miles an hour while this
Right.
woman was out there on the beach. Her hair happened to blow once.
And it had nothing to do with this storm, which was
Nothing,
still
zero, man. She just
1,000
happened to be
miles
out there,
away.
man.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
guy might have been going by on one of those fan things that they ride when they ride over the beach. I don't know what it was. A seagull could have flown over her head, and yet they characterized it as if this was going to be impending doom and devastation.
Yeah.
Which hopefully it turns out to be okay.
Hey, let's get to the food portion finally of the show. These matzo balls. I was up in Coconut
Oh,
Creek.
what was the story there? Now, what were you doing circulating in that area?
I happened to have a business meeting up there, and there's this place called Truly Italian restaurant that's in the Promenade shops there. I don't know if you're familiar with that, or if Lubie ever goes out there.
Promenade
with
shops.
Shirley. Yeah. Do you know that? Well, Lubie is frozen. He's stuck in a block of ice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
He looks good frozen. Doesn't he look good with the glasses? He looks great, man.
He looks like Teddy Williams.
Looks like he just got DQ'd in the 4th race in the Breeders' Cup there.
That's what
about to
Ted
cash a
Williams
ticket.
looks like now. The cryogenic lab. He's just frozen.
Oh, there you go.
he
He
is.
beat
He's
himself
back.
up.
Okay.
I think he has a freeze button on his little control panel there, so he can freak us out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. And I do like the glasses look though. It makes you look
Yes, sir.
very.
I didn't recognize him this morning. I thought, wow, who is
intelligent.
this intelligent guy that is about to produce my show? Maybe we can make some progress with this thing now. And it was Lubie.
He's probably as blind as me. Do you know I wear contact lenses too? And they're a default.
I don't really notice.
No,
I'm not gonna know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's like the thing you've been dating a girl for, maybe a 6th, 7th time, and
Says,
she
what color are
actually
my
asks you,
eyes?
what color are my eyes? And you're like, brown.
Brown.
Figuring that's with the majority, right? You really
She
have no
goes,
idea.
Hazel, we're done.
Finished. That's it. No, never get that question
Oh.
wrong. That question is worse than who's she in terms of
Yes,
answering a
Well,
woman.
worse, but it's definitely up
Yeah.
I was up at this place, Truly Italian, in the Promenade shops in Coconut Creek. There's a bunch of restaurants around there, but place has been open about a year, and it's kind of trying to be like kind of a lower price point, and they do like kind of create your own pasta bowls, but they have this appetizer on the menu. It's a new menu item. It's called Mott's Balls. The guy who's the owner of the place is actually a Jewish guy from Queens, but he grew up loving Italian food, and he basically he introduced these things. It's like garlic rolls, but they're stuffed with mozzarella cheese, and then they have one that's either pepperoni or they have a vegetable version with
Nice.
mushrooms and broccolini. I got the mushroom broccolini one. Comes with a little plate of dipping sauce, so they bake them all the way through. So it's kind of like a mini. It's like an upscale hot pocket or a mini calzone. But it's nice because you could split it with a couple of people, and then you still have room to have an entree. And these things were great. I mean, I love garlic rolls, and there's a lot of good garlic rolls around. But this was like taking it to a new dimension. So I just kind of spread that, just kind of put a little quick hit post on the group
You,
today
you
because I
triggered
like
a big conversation about garlic rolls and where the best ones are.
Yeah, and garlic rolls are one of those items that are
I
served.
will agree. John the Baker has good
Yeah,
garlic rolls. Very good.
it's one of those items that is served complimentary with dishes at
Yeah.
many places. But if you want to get them on their own, garlic rolls usually they'll charge you a set amount for six of them. It happened to me at one of my locals the other day where I ordered a pizza, but I wanted to get some garlic rolls because my daughter likes them, and it's
How
not
much were the
complimentary.
six garlic rolls?
The six
$4.
garlic rolls, like it's like 4.95 or
All
five.
right.
It's
I'll
something like
concede
that.
him
Five.
that. Sure.
But this place charges for, besides charging for these Mott's balls, they also have garlic bread that they charge for, and they also charge for their regular bread platter setup, which also causes a lot of consternation. A lot of people are used to getting just a free bread service. They serve
Okay.
free bread at Cafe Seville and Tropical Acres. But this guy's thinking is, look, I want to keep my menu item prices down on everything else. If I started doing bread complimentary, I would have to raise the prices of these other dishes $2, and you end up throwing out half the bread. There's so much waste of it. But he says if I make it a chargeable item, only the people who really want bread are ordering it, and then if they don't eat it all, we bag it up and they can take it home. So
Let me appeal to the critic in you.
yeah.
All right, give me a couple of places where you go when they lay down the garlic rolls. You're like, oh man, I can't wait to sink my teeth into them. I can think of a few, and they're not necessarily my favorite places overall, but their garlic rolls outstanding. Galuppi's has really good garlic rolls, even though I consider I'm not as fond of the place as other people are in Let's Eat South Florida, although it is good. Umberto's of New York also puts out a very, very good
Umberto's
garlic
has
roll.
really good garlic
Yeah.
rolls.
Yeah.
No, and
Where are you going for garlic rolls?
near me, it's this place where I went the other week, is the Antonio's Italian restaurant. There's two of them now, one in Hollywood, one in Dania on Griffin Road.
Okay.
But their garlic rolls are very good. So that's one of my usual gets. And not garlic rolls, but in the realm of garlic bread and cheesy garlic bread, our friends Wade and Reese at Pizza Spot. It's not a garlic roll; it's a different animal. But that flat Italian bread that he sticks in the oven and puts melted mozzarella and some of the garlic butter, delicious. I love a good cheesy garlic bread. So that's
Pizza Spot gaining a lot of esteem, though. Did you notice that in the wars over how good or bad Pepe's is? Since they came in,
yeah,
see, this is a
yeah,
funny thing. You were talking about this, and I noticed a little bit of hesitation, to embrace Pepe's and not talk about the Pizza Spot because you, like me, would naturally be concerned about, always having your sponsors be out front and center. But
right.
what's
And I
great
love
is
I love my sponsor. I
they
mean, I
come into
love
town. They come into town, Pepe's, and actually, what's happened is, even though a lot of people like what they're doing, there were many people that had various opinions about what they were doing wrong. And one thing that came to light was everybody said, "You know what's great? The Pizza Spot.
yeah,
I love that joint." So,
yeah.
they actually prospered as a result of the competition coming in, even though it was pretty far away.
No, and again, I think it's one of those things where now people become intrigued about the New Haven style pizza, and they see that, oh, there already is a place in Fort Lauderdale that's been doing it for a couple of years. Let's go check it out. And yeah, everybody should go check out Pizza Spot
If you do
because
the right thing, you
Wade.
will prevail in the end.
Well,
Not
if
always, but in general.
yeah, and they do a terrific job. Their pizza's so good. You
Very
love
good.
it, and
I really do.
especially when
Great
you
job.
eat it right there, and it's getting to be that time of year where you sit outside and lovely cool evening with it's just to get a nice hot fresh pie from that oven, and that's a wonderful thing. And it's
I
one of the
couldn't
reasons.
disagree more with that guy that wrote the
Yeah,
negative report about the vegetable pizza because I've had
so-
it days later, and I found myself saying, wow, This thing is just loaded with flavor and character, and even days later, where it's not supposed to be as good, throw it in the toaster oven, and man, it comes right back to life. It's
Those
great.
are one of the it's one of those reviews that I just throw in the bin of saying it's not really fair and
No,
just throw
Yeah,
it. Just don't pay
the
any
guy couldn't have been
attention
any more dead
because
wrong. Yeah,
because if you're gonna be loading up a pizza with a lot of toppings and
yeah.
then
What's
putting it in a
expect?
box where the steam and everything is making it soggy, and then you're
and
not
then
gonna
put it
eat
in the
it,
car at 100
and put it in
degrees.
the car, and then you go
Yeah.
home, and then you take the picture like an hour, 2 hours later. Yeah, it's not gonna be the best looking specimen. So whatever. You know what? Me and you, we know we love
The
Pizza Spot.
vegetable
And
pie at the pizza spot is absolutely
I,
tremendous.
I actually might be heading over there right after the show today
Good
because
idea.
I've been dreaming of actually just trying their plain straight up tomato pie, the one that I tried at
Oh yeah,
Pepe's, just with the sprinkled little
that was good.
pecorino romano
Very good.
cheese, and just like a lighter pie without all the heavy toppings, and just that's like the pure the simplicity of pizza purity, I
That
call
was
it.
my
And that's
favorite one of the
that's
Pepe's pizzas that we
yeah,
had.
that's a New Haven specialty, is those kind of just tomato pies where don't have the
You
mozzarella
wouldn't
cheese.
think it would be appealing because
Yeah.
you're so used to having like a
Yeah.
ton of cheese on a
No, no,
pizza.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. And again, it's to me, that's the simple. It's just like the purity of the pizza comes shining through the dough, and just the sauce and a little sprinkle. Just get a little bit hint of the salinity of the cheese. The you get a little bit of the
it was very
uh,
subtle the way that they used that, mixed it in.
it's a good bite, and it's a New Haven thing. Hey, talking about forget New Haven things. I mean, Pizza Spot is a Fort Lauderdale thing, and it's one of the reasons why we love Visit Lauderdale and Greater Fort Lauderdale, because we get to go out and discover all these little mom and pop shops and hidden gems, and discover new places for just finding great eats. And Greater Fort Lauderdale welcomes everybody under the sun. And all those foodies out there who are looking to find these hidden gems, and culinary explorers, cocktails connoisseurs, and craft beer aficionados too. Come one, come all, because there's great stuff all over Greater Fort Lauderdale to enjoy and savor. From dockside dining with breathtaking views, lively cafes along Las Olas Boulevard, to award-winning chefs serving up every cuisine imaginable, there's a world-class culinary scene that's waiting for you here. So come stay and play in Fort Lauderdale, Greater Fort Lauderdale, and discover all the taste sensations at more than 4,000 area restaurants. You can also explore our thrilling nightlife scene and some of the local craft breweries along the Visit Lauderdale Ale Trail, along with the hidden speakeasies and the rooftop bars, and these expert mixologists serving up amazing cocktails. It's a never-ending culinary celebration in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's invited. So for more information about upcoming events and deals, go to visitlauderdale.com.
All right, if Charlie Crist wins because I voted, I'm taking all you guys out to a cafe.
I tell you what, Defo, if Charlie Crist wins, I'm going to take you to Carbone, followed by
Oh, okay,
Sexy
yeah.
Fish, followed by Prime 112. Okay?
All
You
right, that's
got that
fair.
on
Yeah,
tape.
I'm sorry,
I will take you to all three if Charlie
my offer
Crist
wasn't
wins.
as solid, but nonetheless, Seville is still a
Oh,
dynamite.
no,
No,
it's
I mean,
great, but
but it's not happening. Yeah,
it's not happening.
it was like betting against Flightline, which I know that you were all over that angle. And it was top of the stretch. You're looking, going,
All
my
right.
God, this horse is going to win by 20.
All right,
It's
let's
over.
take our final break, and then we'll come back to wrap up this Election Day edition of the Lunchbox.
Go vote, Michael.
You like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. So we're back to finish up this lunchbox. A couple of things I got to mention. It's my daughter's birthday coming up, and I was hoping maybe we're going to go to a Dolphins game, the family. But I was looking at ticket prices, and I tell you, this town, when a team is winning, forget about it. Because I was looking at some of those. Like last year, I remember I was able to get a couple of seats for club level, like $150 each. Now they're at $500 each for the upcoming
500.
Cleveland game.
Oh my God.
I'm not spending
do what I would
cheese.
do. Pay for the $10 parking, go in the lot, wait till the kickoff happens, and then go buy the tickets off the scalpers who are desperate to get rid of them.
No, what I'm thinking
That's
though,
when you get a bargain.
What I'm thinking though, Defo, much better value is maybe going to the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival, getting
Oh,
some
good idea.
tickets,
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, daughter, I know of a great place that you're going to be able to kind of eat and have some fun, and that's the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival coming up in January. It makes a great gift, whether it's for a birthday or for the upcoming holidays, Hanukkah and Christmas. VLFoodWine.com is the website, and if you use the promo code Lunchbox on your tickets when you purchase them, you will get an additional savings. I think it's 15%. And they've got some of the big events upcoming, like the poolside barbecue battle on Friday, January 13th, along with the grand tasting at Las Olas Oceanside Park on January 14th. Again, go to VLFoodWine.com. They just unveiled their intimate dinner series that's going to be taking place throughout the week. Some great places on tap, including our friends at the Catherine and also at Heritage Restaurant and at Evelyn's Restaurant, where I raved about Chef Brandon Solomon's cooking in the Four Seasons Hotel. To me, that's one of the best restaurants in all of South Florida right now. Really exciting stuff. They're all taking part in the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival, and you should too. Go to VLFoodWine.com. Get your tickets now.
And you Cajun food fans in New Orleans, Tanazzini in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
on
that's
Saturday.
huge.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
gotta be up in our neck of the woods. I'm gonna have to make a
He's going to be back
Yeah.
at that American Legion Hall on State Road 84.
I'm
That's
signing
just
up, man. Veterans of Foreign Wars,
just
wherever he
east.
is. Yeah.
No, it's American Legion Hall, just east of 95 on State Road 84, right across from Little Red's restaurant. For those who know
If this
it.
guy's at
Yeah.
a Moose Lodge, I'm going. If it's in the vicinity, he's great.
Well, the good part is you could go order your food, and then they let you in the American Legion Hall, and you get like Budweiser's for like $1.50 or $2.
And
It's great.
bingo is always going strong there.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
that's it. All right, it's 1:00. You got to go vote. Please text me when you've put and cast your ballot in, so make sure that
So that
you're
it
in the
counts?
books,
Yeah.
that it counts.
If I
And,
get hit by a car, it'd be interesting because the odds of that are slim, about as slim as winning the Powerball, which I did.
I got to
win
go
again.
check my ticket. I might actually
Yeah.
have won. I got to go see what happens.
Good luck with that. All right. I hope you won. I mean,
If
it
you don't
isn't
see me here tomorrow, I'm a winner. So
I think you would still do the show. I believe
I
you
think
would.
I would too.
I
think I would.
believe you would. I think it's a little addicting here, this Lunchbox thing, which is great. All right. Always a pleasure, Mr. Michael. I'll get out there and vote now.
All right. I'm not really mad or upset about you not voting early. You could vote whenever you want, as long as you get it done.
I mean, you have a thing. I'm glad you're not running for office because you have a thing against senior citizens. And I don't feel as senior. Sometimes I do, as you make me out to be. But
Are you calling me ageist just because I always point out you're a septuagenarian?
But you're always making it sound like we're mentally spastic, like all we eat are tuna sandwiches on white. And you have a very narrow characterization of the creative things that are done by senior citizens and the outstanding things.
I have great respect.
There's
for
some
my
88-year-old guy just ran a New York Marathon. Did you see? I don't know that he ran it. I mean, it took him 9 hours.
I bet he beat me. I can't
But
even
he
run
finished
that.
it. I mean,
No,
it's
he
still
did.
it's 26
It's
miles of
impressive.
walking is not easy.
All right. That's going to do it for today. Lubie looks like he has someplace to be, another deal to close.
Lubie looks completely different. He looks like he's got witness protection, doesn't he? He's kind of got a Superman thing working here where it actually works. Where he just puts a pair of glasses on and nobody recognizes he's Clark Kent. It's incredible.
He does have that Clark Kent look. If he put
Well,
a
the
fedora
glasses,
on.
my hair's totally different today.
Lois Lane is sleeping with the guy, and she can't tell it's one and the same.
That was
Unbelievable.
always stupid.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks, everybody, for indulging us today with our
Vote.
election day talk. And we'll see everybody again tomorrow. Remember to enjoy every sandwich.
Australian